Welcome to episode 75 of Ring Talk, and for the first time in Ring Talk history, I'm going solo. No mucker Martin here this week. Unfortunately, for those of you that know what Martin's been up to, his wife caught him on the internet watching stuff he shouldn't do, and he's been grounded for a week. So he should be back next week, but he's got a lot of apologising to do. And I think he should concentrate on his wife rather than other women, but that's down to a separate issue. Moving on to today, what we're going to cover is we're going to cover the new Plymouth show and a title fight to be unveiled. I'm going to preview Ultimate Boxer with probably giving you the best betting value that I can see at the moment in Ultimate Boxer. I'm going to preview the show at York Hall this Saturday. And review last week, and then we got quite a lot of questions from you. So doing it on my own is a little bit more difficult. We haven't got Martin there to crack some jokes alongside us, but I think the joke's on him this week. But here we go. So Plymouth, the big fight on the card. Brad Pauls defends his Southern Area middleweight title against the Camden caretaker, Robbie Chapman. It's a brilliant fight. Robbie Chapman, who beat Denzel Bentley as an amateur, has got a stellar amateur record. Brad's looking to go big places. It's an absolutely cracking fight. And I think it's a fight well worth watching. So that's the big show at Plymouth. A really great undercard with lots of local lads. We're finalising it all. Darren Town is going to be on it, as well as a lot of the Plymouth boys from Intense Gym down there, and we will give you more details about the Plymouth show over the forthcoming weeks. Right, let's move on. So where we'll go next, we'll preview the week's cards ahead, and I'll start with Ultimate Boxer. Goodwin Boxing have 3 competitors in the tournament, plus we have 3 fighters on the undercard. Starting with the undercard, Linus Udofia makes a welcome reappearance. He decided himself to take the summer off. He'd been involved in 6 fights last year. Then he fought, obviously, in an English eliminator in March, and subsequently he's decided to have a bit of time off, and I think it was a good decision for him. He comes back with a little warm-up on Friday against Liam Griffiths, and then we'll be all steam ahead for the English title shot that he craves, and he hopefully will be able to deliver that for him this year. So Linus Udofia is back in business and heading towards titles, and he's going to be lighting up a lot of the arenas this year. So we're looking for a really big fight for him if we can make it this year. Yusuf Kamari, also heading for a big fight. Yusuf fights against Liam Dillon on the 30th of November for the English Super Featherweight title, and Yusuf warms up at the O2 Indigo this Friday with a 4-round contest against Lee Devine, so who's making his debut. So Yusuf's looking forward to putting an impressive performance on this week before he heads on to bigger things. And the big undercard fight of the night sees the Albanian sensation TNT Florian Marku take on Miroslav Serban. Now Serban is 11-3, has won titles in his homeland, fought for international titles. That's a massive, massive ask for Florian. This Serban also decked Paul Hyland before going down narrowly on points in a fight that some people thought he got close to getting a draw. So we're talking about Florian in his 5th professional fight, only been boxing for a year, taking on somebody who's pushed Hyland very, very close. But Florian doesn't want any easy fights. The Florian fight is live on BT Sport in between the semi-final and the final. It's the only one of the undercard fighters we have who are live on TV. Don't miss the Ultimate Boxer this Friday on BT Sport. Because it's going to be electric, and the Florian fight is going to be amazing in between the semi-final and the final. So let's look at the Ultimate Boxer lineup with the draw. First on is Hollywood Joshua Ejekpovi against Khan Hawes. Ejekpovi is priced in at about 3-11. Hawes is 3-1. You've got the rough and tough Khan Hawes taking on the slick boxing Joshua Ejekpovi, and I feel Ejekpovi should comfortably win that. He's got all the skill set, definitely for 3 rounds to frustrate anybody, and he'll be fresh in the first round, being first on. I'll be shocked if Ejiofor doesn't win. The second fight sees Daniel Egbenike take on Lenny Fuller, and this is the one fight that I believe shows some value. Egbenike, he's very highly regarded. I rate him highly, and at 4-7, I think he's a decent bet against Lenny Fuller, who's also decent, but I think Egbenike will have far too much for Fuller. So if there's one bet on the first round, it would be Egbenike at 4-7 to beat Fuller. In the third one, it's 2 Goodwin boxers that have been drawn together, which is gutting. Sean Robinson takes on Lewis Servette. Sean's priced at 1-7. Lewis is priced at 5-1. It's not ideal that 2 of our boxers are drawn together. And in the final fight, the former Olympian Donnelly takes on Goodwin Boxing's Ish O'Connor, who came from the unlicensed scene, has looked impressive in 2 fights. He's a late replacement, he's gone in last minute, and he takes on Stephen Donnelly. Massive ask for Ish O'Connor, but he's supremely talented, very confident, and I think he's going to give Donnelly a bit of trouble. But obviously Donnelly's a worthy favourite, but don't write off Ish O'Connor, who I've been very impressed with in his 2 professional fights to date. But taking on an Olympian over 3 threes is never going to be easy. But if he's going to give it a proper go, and it's a life changer should he come through. So Ultimate Boxer, that's on Friday. On Saturday, we get back from there and we head off to York Hall. York Hall is unfortunately a bit of a depleted card this week. We lost the 3 title fights, all 3 have gone, and we've had so many pullouts, it's been unbelievable, and we're left with 8 fights. Most promoters, to be honest, would pull a card. You don't see many cards that cost the money that these do go ahead. But at Goodwin Boxing, we don't cancel cards because those 8 boxers have sold tickets and worked their nuts off. We will not cancel a card, despite the fact that our promoter, the promoter that we work with, is losing money. That's part of the deal that anybody that works with has to accept, that if it goes wrong and you lose money, you have to stomach it. And that's what's happened this week. So on the card, the debut of James Verbatim takes on Jamie Spate. James is a lovely kid. He's not got mountains of experience, and he takes on Jamie, who's a seasoned veteran, as we know, and can take rounds off some of the best. For James, it's a tough debut, but he's confident, he's on first, and he's a really nice man, and I hope he gets his debut off to a winning one. Adrian Martin, who unfortunately had his English title eliminator against Alex McCloy cancelled when McCloy is pulled off with an injury. Still stays on the card in a 6th round against Dillian Markov, very tough man from Eastern Europe. Markov is going to give Adrian plenty to think about, but as Adrian said, he didn't want an absolute soft touch because he's going to be looking for a big fight in November, December. It's Adrian's time now to shine. Paul Greenwich, who's really heading now towards 50-50 in title fights, takes on Geraint Goodridge over 4 rounds. He needs an impressive performance to move himself into the super middleweight title contention, so I know Paul is going to be looking to do that. Bailey Donald, I'm extremely excited to see him on his debuts, trained by Darren Wiseman down in Portsmouth. Bailey Donald is one of the signings that we've made recent over the last year that I'm extremely excited about. I think he's got the talent to go all the way. He's a young man, but I'm looking forward to see some real super skill sets on Saturday. And if you're there, make sure you stay to watch the debut of Bailey Donald, which could be something very special for the future. I'm so delighted that Liam Shinkwin returns. Liam Shinkwin, who we know has mixed it at a decent, as a high level former title holder. He comes back at the age of 34, but he's still got a lot of fire in the belly. Takes on Ibraviaz in his first fight back over 6 rounds, but Liam is looking to get straight back into title contention after this. So we're going to be having a good look at a title move after maybe this, or he may need one more, but very excited. Catalin Parashevu is a name that you won't be all familiar with. He's got a good record, I think 17-1. He's now boxing in the UK under our management, and he's going to be looking for some of the big names in boxing over here. So if you're there on Saturday, have a good look at Catalin. He's an exceptional talent, and Matchroom, Frank Warren boys, better watch out. Catalin is coming for you at middleweight. Dennis Wahome is not far off title contention, and he has a 6th rounder against Stefan Slavchev. Now Dennis is 6-0. Really, this win now puts him bang in line for a Southern Area title shot, and he's an exceptional talent with Xavier Miller down at IQ Boxing, and I'm looking forward to see Dennis put on an exceptional performance. And finally, Denis Denikchev, who I believe has a massive future ahead of him and will win titles. He drew in his last bout, but Saturday takes on Elfie MacArthur, a tough man from Scotland who has a good record in the amateurs before he's turned over. And so Dennis wants to go in and have a proper fight. Once again, I'm expecting Dennis to learn from his last fight, where he tired towards the end of the contest. This time I don't expect him to tire, and I expect him to record a handy win, either on points or inside the distance. There's some exceptional talent online at York Hall, and it's obviously gutting that we're missing, we normally would have 14 fights on, but it's just been one of those shows where injuries have meant that we've lost all the title fights. But still come along to York Hall Saturday. It's going to be a really good night, and boxing starts at 5:30 Saturday at York Hall. Right, let's move on and do a quick review of the show on the 7th of September, Last Chance Saloon. So let's run through it, and I'll be as brief as I can. We started off the title action with Ramez Mahmood beating former ABA champion Jack Budge. Ramez was a worthy winner. He outscored Jack, but it was a great fight. Jack Budge will come again. I just think it was too early for Jack at 4-0. Ramez is managed by Mickey Amu, and obviously we promote him, and I think we picked the right time and the right opponent at the right time. And I think Jack in another 3 or 4 fights will be a different proposition, but the whole sport of boxing is about making the right choices, and for Ramez, I think we made the right choice. For Jack, he was possibly needed 1 or 2 more fights before he went in at that level. Dion Juma defeated Wadi Camacho in a fight that is going to be on this channel, and you can watch it. You can watch the fight. Was explosive. Wadi at the end of the fight was totally, I thought was class. He announced his retirement and praised Dion. Dion praised Wadi for stepping up, because everybody's petrified of fighting Dion Juma. And Wadi stepped up and took the chance. Wadi now retires. Dion moves on to greater things, and he'll be eyeing the winner of Richard Akpor and Jack Massey for the British title. Kay Prosper managed to get the win in the rematch with Sam O'Maison after there being a draw in the first contest. I know there's been Sam's put some stuff in on social media saying that it was bent and a robbery. It really wasn't. I spoke to Ryan Rhodes, his manager trainer, after the fight, and I said to Ryan, we've got this, And Ryan said, well, yeah, I can see. And it was, in my opinion, I've watched it back twice. Kay won it by at least 2 rounds. It wasn't close. The first fight, you could have made an argument either way, for sure. The drawn fight, this fight wasn't close enough. Kay won it clearly, and Kay now moves on to down the English title route. Now the board have ordered Philip Bose, the Commonwealth champion, to take on Akeem Ennis-Brown, and they've ordered Kay Prosper to fight Joe Hughes in a final eliminator for the winner of that. But Akeem Ennis-Brown is in the Golden Contract tournament, so he'll have to withdraw from that to do the British. If that happens, then Kay will have to go through Joe Hughes to get his shot. But we'll have to see how the land lies. But for Kay, he's on the verge of big title fights, and we'll have to see how it plays out with the board, but we'll deal with that afterwards. Other than that, on the card, wins for Sam Cox, who continues to make impressive career progression. Shoki Khan, a good debut, beating Victor Idaga. Jack Owen, now unbeaten in 3, with a good impressive performance against Richard Harrison. Definitely the best Jack Owen has been. Ellis Zorro is, without doubt for me, one of the most improved fighters on the small hall circuit, with very limited experience before he turned professional. He is really making waves, a future champion without doubt. Robbie Chapman, he had his warm-up for the Brad Pauls fight, just getting back there with a victory over Kieran Thomas. Kola Koyajo, managed by Ali at Stonebridge Boxing, was very impressive on his debut, dispatching Iliev in a round. Ryan Walker He got his career back on the winning road, second victory after his loss to Rama Balazza for the English title. So he's won. Jordan Dujon and Mickey Musa once again defeated Dwayne Green. Robert Asagba put on a very good performance against Dale Amo Smith. Robert's now going to have another fight in November before going into titles. Ishmael Oladipo, as a heavyweight, beat Phil Williams 39-38 in a very close fight. I think there's no doubt that Oladipo is a talent, but his fitness needs to improve if he's going to go places. Ryan Copland is impressing well for me since he's had his second fight for us after being very inactive for a year, but obviously we've got him back active again. Rob Hodgins down in Ipswich trains him, and he's doing a brilliant job. And Jamani Camiro came back into action with a win over Chris Pilkington, and obviously looks now towards title contention. So that's the review of the two shows and the previews. Let's move now to the Q&A. Right, so let's start off. We'll start off with a Twitter message from Tim Brown. What do you think on these fights for the future, and how long do you think it will be before we see them? Number 1, Linus v Denzel Bentley. 2, Conor Benn v Florian Marcoux. 3, Juma v Riakporhe. So Linus Denzel Bentley, if it's for a British title, it's definitely something we'd be interested in. So I think Linus gives Denzel all the problems that he will need with his movement and boxing skill set. I think it's a fight for the future. If both keep winning, I think it's destined to be for a British title. Conor Benn v Florian Marcoux, we would take that fight tomorrow. But I don't think Matchroom are interested in it, but we would take that fight tomorrow. Dion against Riakporhe, well, Riakporhe's got an engagement with Jack Massey, and we'll hope that Dion gets the winner of that. If it is Massey, then we obviously don't want Riakporhe. Tim Brown again, on the MTK Instagram, a different boxer takes on the account on a day. Have you considered doing this, as this may get them more fans on the way up? It's a very different idea. Does it get them more fans? Not sure, but it's a very good initiative from them. Something we will look at. Moving on to Joe, Ealing 1889. Went to the Frank Warren show on Saturday. Proper win, girls. When will you be upping our game? Well, I think we upped our game when we got the big screens and the video screens on the stage. That demonstrates the rounds, and fighters get proper ring entrances rather than walking down the side. So I would suggest that our game is already upped. The ring girl thing was something we decided to discontinue very recently. We've had ring girls for 9 years, purely because we just felt that it didn't add too much anymore and is a bit old hat. But I understand the arguments either way, but it's not about upping our game. I think we've upped our game more than anybody else. Ali. Samuel Mason tweeted this after his loss to Kay, hashtagging it bent and no fair shakes in boxing. How did you score the fight, and why didn't Kay get the Bose fight if Sam was apparently up to fight him next? Well, everybody was running around on Saturday suggesting that Kay was going to get Philip Bose for the British title, which was definitely a possibility. But what people did miss was it was an eliminator, not a final eliminator. So the board obviously take their view, and Philip Bose, being the Commonwealth champion, rightfully should have his crack at the British, and the board deemed it that Akeem Ennis-Brown was more worthy than Kay Prosper. That's the board's decision, not mine. You accept, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. That's what it is, but they put Kay in a final eliminator with Joe Hughes. JB, Jason Burchett. What's the plan for Mark Little 2? It's the same plan that it's already been. We wait to press the buttons and do it with Paul Cook. His trainer's okay. At the moment, we're following the plan that Paul Cook wants to do. So he should be in title contention, I would hope, March next year. But there's lots in the pipeline. But I think we're going to get the December fight, the September fight out of the way, then have a look. But probably I would imagine it will be March next year for titles for Mark. Boxing Luton. Do you think the board acted too hastily when ordering the super lightweight fights? Was the decision too close to the Prosper fight to allow them to consider it properly? No, I think they were quite aware of the situation, and I don't. You can't argue that Akeem Ennis-Brown may be more worthy than Kay. I think it's a 50-50 call. This one didn't go our way. Daniel Smith, 87, with Akoli going for the European and Riakporhe versus Maddie ordered for the British. What's the plan for Juma next? Well, we want the winner of Riakporhe Massey. Simple as that. Ramez Mahmood, might be premature to ask, but with Cullen boxing cash for the Commonwealth, does he keep the English or does he vacate as Linus was mandatory? He can keep the English technically, but I would hope that he will vacate and Linus will then get a crack at the vacant English title. Ali, with Linus set to fight this weekend, any updates on his opponent and will he be shown on TV? No, it's not a TV fight. He's only having a warm-up 4-rounder and it's Liam Griffiths that he'll be fighting. Ali again. With Kay winning the English, will he go straight into his eliminator with Joe Hughes or have a different defence? If he does fight Hughes, I couldn't figure out if it means he fights for the British or fights the winner of Bowes versus Brown. Well, it means if he fights Joe Hughes and wins, he gets the winner of Bowes and Ennis-Brown, but then Ennis-Brown has to, in the meantime, I would imagine, pull out of the Golden Contract competition to do that. So that's a little bit up in the air at the moment. Okay. LPC 1231. Will there be any titles on the line for your show in Plymouth? Yes, Brad Pauls fights Robbie Chapman. That's definitely one. There's possibly another one, but probably will just be running with the one title fight. And from Martin, who's locked away this week, as I can't make it, what is the biggest frustration you face with boxers outside of the ring? 2, how much weighing up did you do? Did you have to do with numbers before pulling the trigger on running a Plymouth show? How do you gauge interest with little market research in the area? 2 good questions. What's the biggest frustration you face with boxers outside of the ring? I would say that it's boxers that get to us, they start to build, and then boxers then have higher expectations of where they sit than where they are, so that you could get a boxer who believes that they are entitled to £10,000 purses when they're not, and you have to try and say to a boxer, because you've had so many wins or you've achieved this or you've done that, that doesn't automatically mean you get it. Some boxers totally get it, others don't. So the biggest frustration is when a boxer goes from being a little bit humble to thinking that they deserve more than they do in the sport at a particular time, and it's hard to try and manage expectations, I suppose, is the biggest frustration. Second question was, how many numbers did we have to do before we took an area? Well, we need realistically 9 or 10 fighters in a particular area for it to work, because you need to stage about 7 fights in an area to make it viable. So you have to start with 9, allowing for a couple of dropouts. So they're the sort of number. Gauging interest, well, we'll only gauge interest when we try and promote there properly. It's been Plymouth shows have been done before, but not, in my opinion, as they should be done. So we will be working hard to actually promote the event in the area, and I am sure it will be a sellout. So I'm looking forward to that show. And if you come from down the area, make sure you get a ticket for that show. It will sell out. Heavens above. What do I think about the KSI Logan Paul fight? Is it fair someone like Eddie Hearn promotes this when there are so many boxers that dedicate their lives to the sport but get little back in return? Well, it comes down to money. It comes down to the fact that these 2 guys can't box, but what they can do is draw numbers and they attract money. So TV networks and everybody else are attracted by the money that they will generate from their fight. They will generate a fortune. So rather than criticise KSI and Logan Paul, I think it should be held as an example to other boxers as to what you need to do to build your profile up. It's about profile. So should Eddie Hearn not do that and promote 2 fighters that generate no money because they're talented? We're in a business world and you need both to go in tandem, and I'm afraid that it's just the way the world is. So in a pure sporting capacity, of course you shouldn't stage it, but we're in a business in boxing, and boxers have to earn and build their brand, and then the money then comes. That's it. Episode 75 over. Hopefully Martin gets the chains off his feet, arms and back, and gets back here next week to present. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll be back with Martin next week to look at episode 76 and review Ultimate Boxer and review the show this week and preview the big show on the 28th at York Hall. Thanks for watching.